Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday and welcome to week 6 of the Happiness Habit series. And today we have got the lovely Lisa Lowndes on. I cannot wait to find out a little bit more about her. I've been wanting to catch up for a little while, and when she decided that she was series, I was really excited. So for those of you that don't know me, Lisa, hopefully you'll be coming on now. It is doing something, so it looks like it is working. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Lauren Lindsay, and my mission is to inspire creative women and creative individuals to live a life by their own design. Hello, Lisa. Thank you.
Hi.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. So I'm just doing a little bit of an introduction if anybody's not jumped on before or they're just seeing what I'm doing. So the reason for this series is to find out and to get into the minds of successful people and people that are living their own and creating their own life and what habits they're putting in place. And over time, I want to be able to collect this information and bring it together. I've just noticed that you hear that.
Oh, right, I'm going to put my earphones back in because the sound's gone a bit funny.
I've got here. Please if we managed to get you on today. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay now.
That seems to have stopped the echo as well. So hi, and thank you for jumping on. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, really good. Thank you for having me on. It's an absolute honour.
You're very welcome. They get excited. And me and Lisa have just been speaking before this, and we were talking about like our nerves. And before we come on, I don't think they're nerves when you get on a Facebook Live. I don't think they ever go, do they? It's still that kind of, the palms get sweaty. I'm talking quick, so I can tell my voice, I can feel it. And it's a case of just pushing through that, isn't it? So I'm sure part of your story, I'm so looking forward to this, but I'm sure part of what we're going to hear today is going to bring everything together. So if you don't mind, I will jump in with the first question.
Sure.
That's all right. Do you know what? You introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are. And yeah, I've not done that bit, have I?
That's okay. I think that's the nerves bit, isn't it? I tend to get really giggly when I'm nervous.
Yeah.
So for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Lisa, and I'm a mum from Cambridge, mum to 3 boys. I've been in network marketing now for about 2 years. I've been with various companies, but I'm happy to say I've found my home now. And yeah, I think you're probably one of my sort of first original networker friends, aren't you now?
We're over a year now, aren't we, going back? When
yeah.
Like, oh, there's Lisa. It comes up, doesn't it? And it's incredible, and we've mentioned this a couple of times. I don't know if you jumped on with Stephanie. We were saying how different it is as people have been growing. And, you know, over the years and over, like you say, it doesn't matter if you change. People change jobs all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's how you grow as a person, and it's that, you know, the personal development and the strength that comes from within to take you on that journey. So I absolutely admire, you know how I feel. So
thank you.
You're very welcome. Hi everybody to who's jumping on. This is something I always miss, and it's to kind of interact on the videos.
So I can't see any comments or anything.
Right. I've got Michael's on, Vicky's on, Sophie, Trudy, Jamie. Thank you everybody. Charlotte, hi. Thanks everyone who's jumping on. So we're going to jump in with the first question. Thanks for introducing yourself.
Okay.
I love this question. What are your first thoughts and feelings when you're asked the question, how happy are you?
Well, at the moment, I'm pleased to say I am very happy. I think that at the moment I'm like the happiest that I've been in a long time. And for me, that is incredible because it's been a bumpy ride over the years. There's been lots of sort of heartaches and sort of various things. But at the moment, I really feel I'm sort of at my strongest. I really believe in myself. One of my biggest things is my self-esteem and my self-confidence. I really lack in. And yeah, I sort of feel like I've kind of come through that. I always used to sort of ask myself, will I ever smile again? And will I ever genuinely smile, you know, just because I can? And yeah, at the moment I can.
It's good to see you smiling.
Yeah,
It's good to
yeah.
see you smiling.
So I walk around like I've gone school run and I'm like, yee! And it's
That I
lovely.
found as well. I did set myself a little challenge. It was a while back, but I used to be always had my head down in my phone, you know, when I was out and about. And I just challenged myself. It wasn't for long, but it was just to kind of see, you know, who actually replies back. And if you ever like walked down the street for even just to your local shop and smiled at someone, the majority of people turn away
Yeah,
from you, don't they?
yeah,
So
yeah,
very quickly I was able to start smiling. This is what worked for me. I don't know about
yeah,
yourself, but I just thought, you know, people are kind of within themselves a lot of the time anyway, so it doesn't matter if I smile. And when you get that smile back, it makes you feel really good as well, doesn't it?
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
kind of like a positive. You can't lose by putting a smile on your face. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Absolutely.
I see you smiling quite a lot. We do see these photos, you know, of you happy, of you smiling. But obviously, life is life, and we're all human. And
Hmm.
part of what, you know, I always say, you know, we have the ups and the downs, we have the challenges, but what people don't really talk about is how they overcome them challenges. They say like, hey, I've got through this X, Y, and Z, but they don't actually give you the techniques and the tools to get
Hmm.
them stepping stones to move forward. So, um, I love that. And any other tips? Have I just cut you off halfway through what you were saying, or?
No, 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 you're fine. I mean, yeah, I think it's really hard sometimes because I'm very good at giving advice, but I'm not very good at listening to my own advice. And if I'm sort of having a bit of a wobble, like my friends will say to me, "What would you say to me?" And I'll come out with this fantastic answer, and they're like, "There you go then." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, but you know," and sort of make excuses.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I've really kind of been trying to work on, and actually sort of believing in myself and, you know, like I say, listening to my own advice. Um, and I think just sometimes putting things into perspective as well. You know, sometimes if I'm having a bit of a bad day and I'm sort of feeling a bit, or I'm just acting like a bit of a sulky brat, and I think, do you know what? Like, it could be so much worse. There's so many people worse off than what I am. You know, I've got a roof over my head, I've got my children, I've got my friends, my family. And sometimes even that's just enough to kind of, you know, sort of pick me back up. Um, but yeah, it can be challenging.
Absolutely. You know, and I'm the first one to say I have them challenges. And a little bit, you know, if anybody's been following over the last week, I've got a really sore back. So if I'm sat rigid and I can't move and I'm pulling faces, I am in pain. And I've been miserable, and I've had to really work. I've done so much meditation, or not so, because I've actually found this week, because of the pain, I've not been able to relax the same. I've not been able to quiet my mind with the meditation, but I've had lots of bouts of time on my own to just
Mm,
kind of group myself, and that's taught me quite a lot, especially with pain, because I'm not good with pain. And it, like you're saying, it's finding these techniques, isn't it, that work for us and that we can carry forward. And it seems to be those and the habits
yeah,
that are things that make the biggest change. It brings you the biggest shift. And you know, and we all get them days. We're all human, so we all have them low days, some more than others, some a lot more. You know, it just depends on what life's thrown at us, and unfortunately we don't know what's around the corner. But if we
yeah,
have that toolbox, if we have these habits that we know that are going to build us up, that we know can change our energy, that can shift that mindset, we've got everything then that we need. If the, you know, worst case scenario for us happened, we've got all of them tools and techniques. It's a practice every single day to build our self-esteem, build our confidence. Like you say, you're absolutely shining. You always have. And I think sometimes
oh,
it's that self-belief, isn't it? And it's the confidence. And I know I have to work really hard on my self-confidence and my self-belief. I get stuck in the trap of, you know, people, of comparing myself to other people. I get stuck in the, I'm not good enough. Is this, you know,
mm,
is this good enough? Can I do better? Perfectionism. I get stuck in all of them cycles, and I'm still learning. Each new challenge and each time you kind of move forward and you up level, new challenges come about. But if it wasn't for them tools and them habits, I'd have no idea, and I wouldn't even be able to get to that next step.
yeah,
Would you agree with that?
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, I think they say it takes, is it 2 months to change your behavior and change a habit to form a new one, I
They
think
say
it is.
28 days religiously, and that's doing it consistently. A habit is like
Yeah.
riding a bike, isn't it? It's something that we keep doing over and over again. But
Yeah.
I always go back to a belief, and the way we think is, again, it's a habit. It's something we've told ourselves over and over and over again. So when we start turning that around and saying more positive, optimistic things to
Yeah.
ourselves, that's where the uplift comes. But it's the consistency and the continuation of doing it. And I always go on about affirmations, and that exactly is my point for the affirmations, because it works on your subconscious mind. At first, I remember when I first said them, and it's I'm happy was even a really difficult affirmation for me to say a good few years ago. And I used to think I was lying to myself. I used to think, I'm not happy, why would I say it? And the more I did it, the more I started feeling these little exciting bubbles, and I getting inspiration, and little things that I hadn't noticed started to, nice things, like even just a little flower or something, and I've noticed things I wouldn't usually pick up on. And that was all just from changing the way my outlook, and changing my perspective, which is very similar to what you've done, over the years. And I can just see so much difference, and I can talk about this subject so much. So just so we don't get sidetracked, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel on an everyday? And I know we have these ups and downs, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being your best, where would you kind of fit yourself right now?
I'd say it has to be a 9.
Excellent.
For a couple of reasons. I think I was at a 10, and I mean that's fantastic for me, because for a long time it was right down the other end. And just sort of to reiterate what you were saying about the affirmations, that was one of the things that I started doing, because I'm always posting sort of, particularly on my morning posts. I try and post things that are positive, that might inspire people. And I remember having a wobble, and someone said to me, why don't you go back and read your Facebook posts, read what you post? And I thought, yeah, do you know what, they're right. And that's what I started to do as well. And I would tell myself, and I would repeat to myself what I'd written down. And it just starts to become automatic, doesn't it? And then, like you say, you start to appreciate the small things. It's quite powerful.
It is. I love them, and for me, it got me out of it wasn't just affirmations alone. That, like I keep talking about a toolkit. You need a different box, different tools for different scenarios, different circumstances, different reactions, triggers, relationships, all sort of things that come into your life. It's all these different skill sets that we put together to protect ourselves. This makes me feel good, and this is what's going to help me. Everybody's different. For someone, it can be going out jogging. For somebody else, it can be sitting reading a book. It's finding that within, isn't it? And being able to use that each time. That's incredible. A 9. Wow. And I really, it's good though, where you can scale yourself. So I'd say right now, this week, I'm normally at around an 8. And I always say an 8 because I always feel I can improve, and I always feel like I can go down a level. But then this week, I'd probably say end of last week, I was probably on a 6. I was feeling quite, like I say, pain. It was constant. I can't do the usual things. I can't make a cup of tea. I can't, pick the children up from school. So it's had a lot of everybody's been kind of having to help. And then this week I thought, right, this is the situation. I've got my scan on Wednesday to see what I'm dealing with. So I've gone back to a 7 by doing them tools and the techniques. And all of these tools and techniques we can share with you if anybody's watching this and wants to know more about what we're talking about. So, again, we've touched on this. You've already mentioned you've not always felt this way. So, can you share a little bit of your story? Can you let us know what, as much as you're comfortable with?
Yeah, sure. My life, I would say, has been pretty difficult for a long time. I've had, a lot of heartache, a lot of stuff that I've had to deal with. And a lot of stuff that I had to deal with kind of as a child that no child should have to deal with, basically. And so I don't have, I think these are probably things that I've not really kind of talked about publicly before. There's people that, you know, I've had conversations with, but I've never kind of publicly put this out here. So it's not in any way because, you know, I want sympathy or anything like that. The way I see it is, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And if what I say helps somebody else, you know, to go, do you know what, actually, I can be like that, then that's great. That's the whole point of it. Because I never see myself as a victim. You know, no way. I never have that. I'm like, it, as weird as it sounds, if the things that have happened to me hadn't have happened, I might not be who I am today. Yeah, and as bizarre as that sounds, because obviously I wish these things hadn't happened, in some ways I've just kind of learnt from it, and I've grown from it, and I've kind of kicked back to all those people and gone, do you know what, I've bloody shown you wrong. So yeah, I don't have a relationship with my dad. My parents split up when I was sort of about 1 year old, so I've never really had him in my life. Which sort of growing up was quite difficult because a lot of my close friends had really close relationships with their dads, and I always kind of felt like, you know, well, why doesn't my dad want me? Why has he never tried to find me, and so on. I did get in contact with him a few years back, just before Connor was born, my middle boy, and it kind of just didn't work out. We're just completely on different levels, and it just, yeah, things happened, and I made the decision that I didn't want to see him again. That I was glad that I'd found him, but that actually I was better off not having anything to do with him. So obviously that, you know, that took a long time to kind of to come to terms with and to deal with. I've been in some pretty nasty relationships, which I won't go into now. I've had postnatal depression. And that's another thing that, you know, at the time you kind of think that you're a bad mom, and, you know, why is this happening to me, and am I the only one that doesn't love my child? I mean, I do love my children, you know.
I had the opposite. I had the opposite
really?
effect. I had postnatal depression, but mine was I didn't want anybody apart from grandma, but I didn't want anybody else to be near or see. And
Yeah.
I struggled with the opposite side of it, and I can relate to so much on
Yeah.
that topic, on the fear, I still question myself, am I a good mom? I just talk to myself every day. Am I doing the right for my children? You know, it's I think as being as a mum, but I can really relate to you on the struggles and the darkness and the pain and the emotions and everything that comes. You know, it's such a dark time, but two of us, and I'm so thank you for sharing. Thank you. And the reason I've jumped on that is because I can relate to that. And if there's anybody that does watch this, you know, us two are sat here, we've been through this, we've got through it. I was at my absolute worst. I didn't want to be here. I was suicidal. I'm not quite sure. But it gets you like that. And then the more we try to get the help, we're labelled, we're put into boxes, we're then felt even worse. We think there's something wrong with us because we've got this label on us, and we don't know what this label is. And for me, again, I'm not sure about you, but I then started researching what the label was that they give me. And I kept myself stuck because I was reading about all of these problems of I've got generalized anxiety disorder, I've got postnatal depression, I've got post-traumatic stress disorder. And I was focusing on what caused all these problems instead of focusing on what I can do to get out of them and focusing on the side. Now, I'm not saying turn and be a positive Polly or positive, whatever you call them. There's being positive and ignoring the emotions that coming up, and ignoring and completely being in denial of your life and just saying everything's good, you know, that's not real. That's an illusion too. So and it's finding that balance, but it's having that optimistic outlook. And you just hit the nail on the head before. You know, every one of your challenges, even though you know that you don't want them, you don't want to remember them or anything, you've not let them define you. You've been able to say, because of them, I am now this person. And it's finding that inner power and that inner courage. And I do think that you have to get to as low as you physically can. You know, everybody's different on them levels, but I certainly hit the lowest of the low. And from that, it was, I am never feeling this low again. If I can make myself feel this low, how good can I feel? When focusing in the opposite direction, and now I'm here on a Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know the same for you. A few years back, me and you, there is no way in a million years anybody mentioned anything like this. I would have heard, I wouldn't have even answered the phone, I wouldn't have answered the door anyway in the first place. But there's just no way, and it is doable. And
Yeah.
it is from learning the tools and the techniques that work for you personally on
Yeah.
that personal level. So I could talk about this all day.
Yeah, no,
Thank
it
you
is.
for
It's a
sharing.
horrendous, an absolute horrendous place to be. And I think the thing is as well, it's so common, you know, and actually postnatal depression is actually really quite normal. But I remember, I mean, fortunately, I only had it with my first son, although I did have a really traumatic birth. So I think that kind of added to it. With my second and third, fortunately, I didn't get it. But with my first, I mean, I remember walking, I'd been to the supermarket, I was living at my mum's, and I remember walking along. Before I knew it, I'd formulated this plan in my head that I'd got ID in my bag so that whoever found me knew where to take Dylan to. And I was going to walk out in front of a car. But it was almost like that was normal, you know, before I knew it, that's what I was going to do. Obviously, I didn't do it. And, you know, I don't think I ever actually would have done it. But it's when you're at that lowest, that despair, and you think that there's no way out and that there's no coming back, and there is. There
It's
absolutely
like
is.
Isn't it? It's like something
Yeah.
switching, and it's scary, and it is
Yeah.
scary. And
Yeah.
like similar to your point, and you know, thank you for sharing that. I felt that lump come up, and I'm like, but I know that feeling. I know that desperation. You know, and I kind of feel that you'd only feel that if you'd been there as well.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And for me, there was a time where I was rocking, literally
Yeah.
rocking. I laugh at it now, but I was literally like as though I was in a straitjacket. You know, it was. And I rang 111 and I said, I'm literally, there's something wrong with me. I can't switch off my head. I can't eat, can't sleep, can't. And I was just this robot of a shell of a person. And the guy actually turned around to me, and this is the help. Well, you're not mad because you rang us. And that was all I got. And I'm still, you know, and it was a scary, scary time. But there are so many things out there now, and there's so much more over it, especially now in the last couple of years. I'm seeing it everywhere. There's so much help out there. People are talking more about it. It is, a lot of people, I think, in the past didn't really speak about it because it's this kind of, I'm a mom and I don't want to be coming across as though I don't love my children. But it's hard when you, especially mine was with my first. With my second, I made sure I had CBT in place. I went to see the mental health nurse. I was doing counselling. I wasn't doing counselling, but I'd done practice counselling, so I was doing techniques. It's never good to do two therapies together if anybody is thinking of doing that. But it's you know, I did all of these things, and as well I joined network marketing. So for me, when I was on maternity, I think it was network marketing that kept me away from that depression. But everybody finds their own things, don't they? So back to like I was saying, you know, it's scary, but you can come out of it. And I'm getting sidetracked. You can but it was the how. What's the word? How it's not popular. Popular is the wrong word, but how common, how you know, how often it is that people have these feelings and have the baby blues, and it could even be up to 12 months after. But what I was trying to say is, especially with your first, life's very difficult. I know for myself, I planned in my head is I wanted my family, my children, I'll do arts and crafts with them, I'll take them to the adventure parks, we'll go camping, we'll go on holiday every year, and we'll do all of these amazing things. But I never realised that I had to change myself at that time. And when reality hit, and when it was that I was on my own, when Jackson had colic, croup and reflux. He didn't sleep for the first 2 years. He was quite a colicky, you know, upset baby. And them 2 years were they were
hell,
hard.
isn't it? Yeah.
They were hard, and you know, I got through them. I did have the support from my mum, and I had support from a couple of friends, but in that time I completely isolated myself. I was drinking, I was doing everything to just to self-destruct myself. I was in
Yeah.
self-destruct mode, and it kind of took for me to have Jackson and to kind of say, you know, you're my world. And it was that kind of, you know, there's so many things that come along that path, isn't there? But once you start grasping, once you start changing your perception and say, there's something here for me, because you're breathing, you are here for a reason. Find that reason and start building on it. So I'm doing it again. Hi Lewis, thanks for jumping on. I hope you're well. And Emily, Milton, and Kaya, and Gemma as well. Thank you guys. Do you have any more to say? Do you want to add to your story?
No, because otherwise I'll probably start welling up or something.
You just nearly had me doing it, but the thing is this is going to inspire so many people. And you were saying before, it's not about getting, oh, poor you, or you know, it's not about that. It's about, what did you do and how can I do it? How can I get out of it? And it's passing that value over to the people. We don't want sob stories, otherwise we've joined a group. To kind of keep ourselves in there.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, if I have times where I'm struggling or I'm feeling a bit, oh gosh, you know, I just keep remembering how it feels to feel good, and you know how lovely it is when you feel happy, and that now kind of gets me back, because I think you have to. Now I'm sort of more aware of, if I'm sort of declining, I'm more aware of it, whereas before I would kind of go just straight down, and you know, there was no in between. I was like 1 minute okay and then on self-destruct, whereas now I recognize signs, I recognize things, and I think these last couple of days I've started to feel wobbly. You can, absolutely.
But you have to calm.
Yeah, I mean, ordinarily I get out of bed, I'm a real morning person. Come sort of this time of the afternoon, like that's it, I'm done. And so I'm normally like quite sort of bouncy in the mornings, and I'm like, raring to go, get as much done as I can. Whereas when I've noticed that I'm struggling, it's like that energy is drained, and no matter what you do, no matter what time you go to bed, it's like something zapped the life out of you. So it definitely helps just recognizing those signs, and it's kind of nipping it in the bud before, you know, it sort of escalates, I think, for me.
Yeah, don't sit there in it, you know, do something. And one thing I always tell myself, if I'm sat down and I'm feeling that way, I'll stand up. If I'm stood up, I'll sit down. If I'm in a room, I'll move out of a different room. And it's about changing that energy state, changing everything around you. As soon as you change your environment, your thoughts, anything to do with your internal circumstances, that's when things begin to change. And it took me a long time to click onto that. To
definitely
start Another thing that you mentioned then is you focus on the happy feeling. And what's working for me, and I'm still working on this at the minute, but it's the feeling of when you're nervous and excited, it's the same feeling. So the more we tell ourselves, because I've grown up with fear. I've been conditioned to be fearful. My relationships were dreadful. You know, it was all fear based. It was all conditioned. It was all I should be this way. And I'm in this relationship. A lot of my, you know, the relationship was because I didn't want to be a single parent, and I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to let my grandma down. I didn't want to let my family down. It's all these little things that I didn't actually realise I was carrying with me. But that was the basis of it all. And it was when I stripped it away and said, hang on a minute, this is who I am and this is who I want to be. And then, you know, it kind of moves forward. I keep going off on one. But so we've kind of touched on quite a lot. What thoughts, feelings, habits or actions have transformed your life the most? So if we can go back to the times that, you know, we've all got the story, we've all got the journey, we've all got that, this is who I am and it's my experience that shaped me. From that, when you finally said, you know, enough's enough, I want to be this person and I want to be myself, what is it that you do? Obviously, you're recognising your thoughts. You just answered a really good one for me. Is there anything else you do, maybe on a day-to-day practice, weekly, monthly? What's your self-love kind of? What does that look like for you?
I mean, it sounds silly, like a silly little thing. If I'm feeling a bit like I tend to do it before I'm going to come onto a live as well, because I like to sort of get myself like, you know, a bit sort of more upbeat, especially if I'm feeling tired, or like you say, if you're feeling a bit I'm not going to say nervous because it's excited, not nervous. I put music on. I put on songs. I just go on YouTube and I'm like, right, what songs do I love? And what songs do I love, like, dancing around the kitchen to and belting out full blast? And even that, like, that really helps me. You know, it's a silly little thing, but that really shifts my mood. I think, again, it's just, I think we've kind of touched on it really. It's changing your thought process. And it's just, I just think of it as, I think if things have happened to you that you find hard to deal with, so like when my granddad died, he died when I was quite young. He was like my dad. We were very, very close, and it completely devastated me. I think it took me about 10 years before I could actually talk about him without getting hysterical. And you know, he was my world, he was my everything, and he went. And obviously, you know, I had nothing to do with my dad. I never had any kind of other male figure in my life. And the way I saw it was, don't get close to people and don't love people because they're just going to leave you. You know, as silly as that sounds.
It doesn't sound silly at all, because the thing is you were brought up with that. You were shown at every single opportunity that that's what happens when you let your guard down. And unfortunately, you know, that was out of your control. You didn't deserve that. That wasn't you. And it's taking back that control now, isn't it? I can feel all the emotion running through me as you're talking about it.
I know. I'm feeling a bit like...
You're doing absolutely amazing. And I want to
thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing this, because I know I can feel it. And I know how hard it is, and I just know you're going to inspire so many people. So I just
think it's you have to. There's obviously certain things that you have to come to terms with, and you have to deal with. And there's other things that for a long time I thought, no, I don't need to deal with that. I don't need to have any counselling over that. I'm okay with that. It happened, but actually I wasn't. And you have to confront things. You have to face up to it. Otherwise, it never goes away. And I think inside you it eats you away, sometimes without you realizing.
Like, it goes out self-destruct everywhere it comes into relationships. You attract all
absolutely of that. And I think it's just I think you have to go through that process of you know, coming to terms with things, accepting what's what. And you know, you can't turn the clock back, you can't change it, you have to let go of it. And I remember one day just sitting there thinking, do you know what? My granddad wouldn't want to see me like this. And that was just the kind of trigger that made me kind of put it behind me as such. And I thought, do you know what? I'm gonna make him proud, and I'm gonna show him. And it's little things like that I think you have to just, I don't know. It's just, I think it is just changing your mindset and just reminding yourself that, yes, bad things happen, horrific things happen, but it's happened, and you've just got to let it go. And I just think I don't ever want to be in that place again. I don't want to ever feel that low again. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, I'm not saying my life is perfect. One of the things I still have now is I have really bad trust issues. I find it really, really hard to trust people. And, you know, I sort of joke and say, all men the same and things like that. And I have to really tell myself that not everybody is the same, and not everybody is a liar, and not everybody is this. And I still struggle with that. I still have to really, really, you know, sort of give people the benefit of the doubt. So there's things that I still struggle with and that I still have to work on. So I don't want, you know, I'm not trying to say like, oh, well, you know, I'm wonderful and my life's perfect, because it's not.
I don't think anybody was to sit there and say that, nobody would be able to relate to that, because life isn't like that. Life is hard, it's challenging, but it's also, you know, it's so good on the other side of it. It's full of joy, it's wealth, and all of them good things. Once we do that shift, once we turn it around, is when we start bringing more of that into it. And so it does start with the mindset. And and I keep saying mindset. Now I understand mindset, but going back, and I'm not sure about yourself, if anybody mentioned the word mindset to you when you were in the midst of your depression, what, I know I'd have probably just, I'd have ignored it and I probably wouldn't listen to it, but I don't think personally I'd have understood the meaning of it. So when we're talking a mindset, and correct me, if this, because I want you to be able to say, yes, that makes sense. What we're talking about is being aware and recognizing those thoughts that we're thinking. We are not our thoughts. They are automated habits of, of sound that we kind of pick up on. Maybe that's just not any sense, but we don't have to, if I think a really bad thought of myself, that doesn't have to be true. And what I'm basically trying to say is, if you find yourself saying that I don't look good, I'm fat, I'm ugly, when you pick up on that, because you do, and there's many times you can just say to yourself, stop, and you'll see a little, or you won't see a thought, but you'll recognize a thought. And it's in that moment that you can turn it around and say, I'm not that, I'm working towards being this. If it's too much to say, to go from, and it is far too much to say, from I'm poor to I'm a millionaire, you can't get there from there. It's not gonna, there's no emotion, there's no truth in that, but you can say, I am on my way to emotional freedom. You can change that, and you can kind of change your thoughts slightly, and if you do it quite slowly and quite gradually, that's how you get the pace up to the positive, to keep the positive. So because you can't just go from I'm sad to happy.
But I think it feels
from sad, frustrated, to angry, to disappointed, to hopeful, to maybe fearful, but then a bit back to hopeful. And our emotions are up and down all the time, and it's that emotional intelligence, isn't it? It's how do we work? Do you, like, I'm not asking you the question, but everybody who watches this, are you aware of your emotions? Are you aware of your triggers? Are you aware of how you react? And you've just said, you have trust issues. I have major trust issues. My worst, it's not the worst, but where I need to do a lot of work is my relationships around trust, around my triggers, and around how I react to them triggers, because there's some things that can happen or get said randomly, and because it takes me right back to when I was 11, 12, I react like that 11 or 12-year-old. But because I'm aware, because I'm like, whoa, I don't want to be acting like that. That does not serve me whatsoever. I can change it and move forward. And it's having that control, isn't it? And knowing that you can create your life. So
absolutely.
Oh, thank you. So we've got one more question.
Okay.
We give so much value and so much advice in this. I am going to share this everywhere, because I just think it's going to help so many people.
I hope so.
Jumping on it, it's honest, it's true, it's authentic, and it's real, and you can't get any better value than that. And there's two people sat saying the same thing as well, isn't there? So what advice, now this is going to be for those of you that are watching, this is going to be the most important part. What advice would you give to people if they are stuck, if they're kind of overwhelmed, if they're like, I know I can do it, but I don't know what to do? What advice would you give them? Obviously, if you're feeling that bad, I always advise people to get professional help. Always, if you feel that that's the road you need to go, always go and do that. That goes without saying. But there are little things that we can do ourselves from home, with our friends, in our, our social. We can make changes around us. So what thoughts or feelings would you say that could create a new habit? What advice would you give to somebody?
I would say, I mean, obviously, like you say, in terms of that level, I think, you need to get professional help. But as a whole, I guess perhaps think of it as like an umbrella, is ask for help. Whether you're struggling in your job, you're struggling, or you feel like you're struggling as a parent, or you're just having a bit of a crap time, I think reach out and ask for help, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing bad of saying, do you know what, I need some support. And I think that can be applied everywhere, I mean, when I sort of realized that I'd gone into network marketing quite blindly. You know, the days of when you're like, oh, I'm just going to post 17 times a day, it'll be all right.
Why has
you
my
know,
friends list gone down and you got all these
yeah,
books?
I know. Oh, don't. Even my mum unfriended me, and I was like, right, something's got to change. I'm obviously doing this wrong. And I went and got myself a coach and a mentor, and I was like, you know, I need help because I want to make this work, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly the same. You know, you've just made, I'm going to say this because you've just made a good point. You know, we always get told as network marketers, business owners, small businesses, anybody that's wanting to progress, you get a coach or you get somebody that you can look up to and that you can invest in yourself.
Yeah,
Going to the doctor, go in getting help, go in asking for a CBT appointment, or go in asking somebody, you are investing in yourself. There is
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. If you turn that around and you flip that around, imagine what that's going to
yeah,
change, because you know that investment, whether that works for you or not, you are investing in yourself to go and get help and to get better.
yeah.
So it just kind of, I felt I had
Yeah,
to say,
I think
clicked in
you
my
hit
head.
you hit the nail on the head. I think that's oh, let me just
Invest in
that's it.
yourself.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Because everyone deserves to be happy, you know, everyone deserves to have good things, and well, perhaps not some people, but you know, on a whole, everybody. I just think life is for living, isn't it? We shouldn't spend. I think I've wasted so many years, you know, looking at myself thinking, oh God, your legs are too big, or oh, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that. You know, that's why I went back into education at the age of 37, because I just thought,
You
if I don't try it, I'm never going to know, am I? You know,
know,
and life is for living. And I think you've just, before you know it, it could be taken away from you. And I don't ever want to look back and think, I wish I'd been happy. I don't want my children to grow up and think, you know, I wish mum was happy. I wish she loved her life. I want them to grow up knowing that they can do anything that they want. The world is their oyster. And they have, you know, sometimes you have to find a little bit of courage. Sometimes you have to sort of dig deep a little bit, but it's there for the taking. And
it's
yeah,
about that control. Would you agree with that? That what I'm kind of hearing from you is it's having choices. Choices is a better
yeah,
word than control. I don't like control, but as we grow up, and you'll have the same concerns as me with the parenting. You know, where is the future going with the children? What can we
yeah,
do to protect them? All this social media, it brings its fears as well as it does bring its goodness to it. You know, I'm a big social media. I love social media. I love how it opens up networks and how you can talk to people. But I also know there's another side to it, you
yeah,
know. And I have them fears about the children and growing up and everything like that.
yeah.
And oh, I've lost my train of thought. Just go back to that last little bit that you said. I had a really good point.
What was I saying? Oh, I think it's about having choices. Like
Yeah,
I, I've got some friends that, you know, they've come to me and they're like, oh, this, that, and the other, and I'm like, only you can change it. You know, you can
absolutely.
sit there and you can choose to be unhappy. Yes, obviously, bad things happen that are out of our control. You know, I don't mean like if you've had a terrible car accident and you've lost your legs, oh, we'll get over it. You know,
Yeah,
obviously there are things that, you know, can't be helped and will take a long time to accept and to deal with. But generally, I'm like, do you know what? You can sit there and you can mope and you can think about all the bad times and you can think about all the bad things that have happened. What's it gonna do? What good does that do? You
it
know?
lives life, doesn't it? And I've done that. I've had many years of where I wished for more, I've expected more, and I've not prepared to put that, you know, the effort
Yeah,
in and different things. And back to the choices, you know, as you know, we're similar ages, and I know for myself it was as we were kind of conditioned through the education system, through our parents, through grandparents, through shopkeepers, you know, everybody has had an input. I'm not putting any blame out there. The only time you put blame out on there is when you're looking at yourself saying, right, this is where I'm at and this is where I'm going. There's no point in blaming anybody. You don't get anywhere with it.
yeah,
But all of these conditionings at some point in your life, and this is another thing that that changed, I actually sat back and I asked myself the question, when it comes to things, whether I believe in certain things, is this the person I want to be? Do I actually believe this, or is this something
yeah,
that I'm told I have to believe? And I know you do that in your parenting, and I
Yeah.
try that as much as I can to, you know, to teach the kids to think in a different way and to think outside the box a little bit, and not kind of regiment. We won't go into that because I could. But it's that choices, isn't it? It's knowing that deep. You have that choice. You have the ability, even though we are told time and time and time again from the newspaper, from the internet, from social media, from our parents, from wherever, we're told we're not good enough, but we are. We have that choice, and you've got the power, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can make that change.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's powerful. It's powerful stuff, isn't it? It's powerful when you start knowing that you can change your life.
Yeah, it is. It's really empowering.
Your behaviour. Just have a look around. Anybody successful, have a look around at how they've got there. They've not got there by sitting on the couch and doing, you know, mediocre things, should I say.
Yeah.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. If that's what makes you happy, that's fine. But it's just kind of, you know, you can then decide who you want to be, and you can take them steps to move forward, and you can change it.
Yeah.
You can have postnatal depression, and you can pull yourself out of it. You can be fed up, and you can pull yourself out of it. You know, there's so much we can do, isn't there?
Yeah,
so,
totally.
Thank you so much. Hi, Tracy. Aww. Thanks for jumping on. I've noticed Tracy's been inboxing me while we've been on.
Oh, is it Tracy Bright?
Yeah.
Oh, we love Tracy.
You can't see, can you? So
no.
Me and Lisa both. Hi, Tracy. I hope you're well. So really appreciate this. I am going to be sharing it out there. I will put a bit of a trigger warning on the post, because there's a few things we spoke about that could potentially upset somebody. That is not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to upset. We're not looking for sympathy. We're not looking for anything. All we're doing is trying to empower and inspire.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to talk to either of us, we're both open.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
We're both open. I have my own my self-love group where you can find tools and techniques. If you want to speak to Lisa, I'm sure she'll have lots of tools she can share with you as well. So feel free to, you know, you're not on your own. There is support out there. But if you've watched this, you feel a little bit niggled, just send us a message. You know, we're here to talk to you. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not quite sure how long we've been on for, but I could talk hours and hours.
I know. Bless you. Thank you so much for having me on and for asking me. It's been really nice.
I'm just, thank you, and I'm so grateful and honoured that you've shared what you've shared, and it is a pleasure and a privilege to know you. It really is, and I can't wait to see what's going to come over the year. So good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Before I cut you off, Lisa, do you have anything that you want to share? Do you have anything that you want to say about your new business venture? Going soon.
I know. In case anybody hasn't seen, or I haven't said it enough, because my countdown keeps appearing in comments and things. I'm going to Vegas. What will it be this time? 3 weeks.
I've always wanted to go to Vegas.
I think it. I know. I'm just. Do you know it? I just feel so incredibly lucky and so grateful to have the opportunity that the CEO of the company gave us the chance to do it, because I know people that, you know, they have holidays all the time and, you know, and have been to places like that before, but for some people it is like a one in a lifetime opportunity, and absolutely. I just can't wait. I was excited.
I can't wait for you.
No, I'm like, honestly, I've just come back from an event in Belfast.
Michael's on, I can see him saying Vegas, baby. So excited.
Yeah, he knows what I'm like, because honestly, the run up to Belfast, I think that was my first week in the company, and I was like a kid in a sweet shop. Every day I was like, one more sleep, and I was like, I can't believe I'm at the airport, and that was just going to Belfast. Like, I don't know what I'm going to be like.
Lightened that flame inside, hasn't it? It's brought.
Yeah, it's
just on that. You can't get off it, and when you always find that way to get back on it. Don't you?
Absolutely. But yeah, it's been an absolutely incredible. I think this is my 3rd or 4th week with the company now. I can't remember. It's all flown by. It's gone really quickly, but I absolutely love it. And, you know, Michael is he's my upline, and he's absolutely fantastic. He's a great mentor. Yeah, he does so much for us, you know, and I'm so grateful to him for that. But yeah, it's just really, really exciting times. And I just think if all this is happening, you know, in the first sort of 4 weeks, like, what's the year going to be like.
We'll be getting you back on so you can give us a tip so we can get onto Vegas.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to know, speak to Lisa. She'll be able to give you some more information about that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so exciting. I can't wait. Can't wait for the pictures. Can't wait to see how you feel about it, and just all of the excitement that's building up. And there is a lot of momentum coming up regarding that. So I wish you all the best, and your company, your business, they've all got an amazing superstar with them, and you're you're such an inspiration, Lisa. So
thank you so much.
Thank you for you guys that watch this. Feel free to share it out. Again, feel free to pop us an inbox if you have any questions. Have an amazing Friday, and Lisa, I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.